Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I am so happy to welcome you guys from all over the country and all over the world. Tonight, I'm going to be playing with the Wreath Builder template, and I'm going to be playing with, oh my goodness, my phone's going off. Let me see if I can shut that off here. Sorry about that. There we go. Airplane mode. Nothing like airplane mode. So tonight I'm going to be playing with the new Wreath Builder, and I'm going to be playing with the Sparkle and Shine kit. And once again, I just can't seem to stay away from it, but I'm going to be doing 2 more cards with the Holiday Tapestry set. Now, I promise, starting on Wednesday, I'm going to be using the other sets in this set. In this kit, I have tons of ideas, but tonight I was just feeling like making a Wreath Builder card. So tonight I wanted to talk just a little bit about patience. You know, I had kind of a rough week and rough weekend with just a million things to do. Didn't have a lot of time to sit down and relax. And I just noticed that I have this beautiful pile of cards and some gifts that you guys have sent to me that I have not even had a chance to open all of them yet. And I was feeling really bad about that. And I don't want to just open them to open them. I want to open them and sit down and look at each one and read each one and kind of, you know, just take a moment to enjoy all of the beautiful cards that you guys have sent me. So I know some of you have been asking, did you get my gift? Did you get my card? I am going to try to go through all of those this weekend, and I'll be posting pictures of everything that you guys sent me over in our Facebook group, Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. And I was thinking about it, and I was beating myself up about it. And I was thinking, you know, come on, get going. You got to get these cards open, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And I think we all do that to ourselves. But remember, every moon needs time to become full. And nothing blooms all the time. So it's okay to drop the ball once in a while, especially if you're willing to just tell people that you dropped the ball. Having patience with all things is important, but having patience, first of all, with yourself. That's the most important. All right, so I'd like to welcome you guys. I see people still coming in and people from all over telling me the weather, crazy weather all over the place. Some of you are having snow. Some of you are in heat waves. It's just crazy out there. And I know some of you down in the Gulf are expecting yet another hurricane, Tom. I know. And this one, I mean, they're running out of names. This one is called Zeta. They're just going through the alphabet now. So stay safe down there, you guys. Just make sure you've got lots of, you know, toilet paper, adhesive, so you can make cards, enough glue, cardstock. You'll be good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start using the Wreath Builder. I have the Wreath Builder templates here. I'm going to use the smaller of the 2, and we're going to make a 3 3/4 inch wreath. But before we do that, we're going to cut our panels this time using the brand new Master Layouts 3 die set. So I have that die set right here, and you can see it's all, this is not, you know, they're not even attached to the magnet because there's just so many of them. I'm going to have to get a few more magnets so I can divide this up. But I will grab my die cutting machine, and you're getting a foot of snow in the UP? Come on, it's only October. We should still be up in the UP looking at the beautiful leaves turning. What's going on? Yeah, we had snow this morning here too. It was a little weird. I don't know. It seems pretty early. I don't like it to get cold until after Halloween. But I guess I'm not in charge of the weather, so we gotta do what we gotta do. Now I'm going to use 2 different colors for cards tonight. I'm going to use Red Velvet, which is one of the colors that comes in the kit. This is a mid-weight red, and this is not our usual Red Velvet, so this might feel just a little bit lighter weight. I'm also going to be using some blue denim tonight. And what I thought I would do is I would make a Christmas wreath, and then I would also make a Hanukkah wreath using blue and silver. And for my red one, I'm going to use gold. So this is going to be fun and a little different than my usual Wreath Builder wreaths. So I'm going to find the smaller of the 2 squares, and that's easy to do because you just put them together like that, and it's easy to see which one is smaller. I'm going to cut that out of this red piece of cardstock. This is the 3 3/4 inch square. And if you don't have these dies and you're playing along, just cut a 3 3/4 inch square. It won't have that decorative edge, but it will still be beautiful. All right, so I've got that cut out. You can see it's got all that fun little stitched edge around there. I just think that's such a nice, elegant touch. All right, so I'm going to put this piece aside. I'm going to be using this later. And I'm going to cut a blue one at the same time. I might as well get these cuts done right away. All right. Cut that out. Ooh. And I could cut some of the circles out now. Maybe I'll do that as well. So this one is all done. I'm going to put those aside. And then I'm going to use, for the blue card, I'm going to use the Happy Hanukkah, wishing you a very happy Hanukkah image. So I always like to try it first with the circles and see which circle works better. Definitely the bigger one. So I'm going to cut out a bigger circle here. Let's get the right plate where it needs to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the red. I'm going to cut the same size circle with the red. And this is the stitched circle. So I'm getting all this prepared before I start making my wreaths. You know, and if you're going to mass produce, you can certainly just, you know, take an evening when you don't feel a lot of mojo and just cut all the pieces out. Get them going so that you're ready when you start to feel excited again about crafting. You'll have all your pieces ready to go. Okay. So we have that. So I'm going to cut the strips out a little bit later because I haven't, you know, 100% decided if I'm going to use strips or not. And I'm not going to waste any more time die cutting until I know what I'm going to do. Although I am going to have to pull these back to cut mats, but we'll do that a little later. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to prepare the misti for the wreath builder. Now, if you're new to wreath building, I'll give you the 50-cent tour here. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your misti, and I normally have my misti mouse pad in my misti. This is a separate purchase, so if you have a misti and you don't have this, this is a great purchase because you can get ink all over this and just wipe it clean. And I really like stamping with the mouse pad in my misti like this. But when I'm wreath building, I flip it over. I like the black side up because I can see it better with the Wreath Builder templates. You see how they kind of get lost on here and it's hard to see? So I like the black. Now you see I have two pieces of tape kind of rolled up. And that's only to keep my mat in place because sometimes you can see this mat is just a little bit smaller than the inside of the misti. Well, if the mat moves, then the Wreath Builder template's going to move. So we want to keep the mat stuck down there. All right. So the Wreath Builder templates come in the two sizes, the 4-inch and the 3 3/4 inch, and then you have the inside stars that match. And the inside stars have all of these laser cut designs on them, these circles and then these lines. And that allows you to put, you know, for different kinds of placement, to center your greeting. It gives you lots of opportunities to put the stamps where you want them, pick them up at the door of the misti, and then pop the star back out and you know your stamps are centered. Okay, it also lets you try things ahead of time. And it's hard to really demonstrate that when it comes to the technique I'm using tonight, but I'll do that on another live, and I've done it in other ones. So if you look back, you will find those techniques. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I have the misti, have the template in the misti, and I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape. I want something that's a little bit stronger to hold this in place. So it's up in the corner there. I'm going to tape it down right here. And then I'm going to tape it on the side as well. Okay. So we have that all in place. Now let's start first with the Hanukkah cards. So we are going to use the blue denim for this. Another color that's great for the Hanukkah cards is in the navy. It's just gorgeous. But I decided to do something just a little bit brighter tonight. So I'm going to start with my embossing magic pad, and I'm going to rub that all over the surface of this piece of cardstock that I cut out with Master Layouts 3. And you can see the Master Layouts 3 fits perfectly. The die cut fits perfectly inside the misti. There is like not even inside the Wreath Builder template. There's not even a tiny little bit of wiggle room. It's perfect. Okay, and then you can hold your cardstock down using the magnet. All right, so the beautiful new, I love this set so much. Let me get a piece of white cardstock so we can look at it together. The new holiday tapestry set. I know some of you did not get this kit. I do want you to know that we have all the sets on reorder, and when they come back in, they'll all be put in individually, so you'll be able to pick and choose exactly what you want. And we're hoping that it comes in sooner than later. I know that our customer service is saying about mid-November. We're actually hoping that they come in before then, but we just don't want to disappoint you. So we know they'll be in by mid-November. Okay, so I'm going to start with this image right here. You see there are so many little images here that are perfect for wreath building. And also in the Sparkle and Shine set, this snowflake, these stars, they're also perfect for wreath building. We just put them in this set because this had a lot more snow stuff going on, and these had a lot more tapestry kind of stuff going on. All right, so I'm going to start with, let me get that out of the way. I've actually embarrassed myself with that. We're going to start with this image right here. Okay. All right. And we're going to place it onto the cardstock. Let's see. We're going to place it just like that. So it almost looks like a right angle. And if you want to make sure that it's not going to go outside of your cardstock, you can use the star insert and make sure that it stays inside that widest circle. Then you know it's not going to go outside of the piece of cardstock as long as it's inside the circle. So we'll pick that up. We'll get that out of the way. What's nice about the Master Layouts 3 is once you get that piece of cardstock in there, it kind of sticks in there. It's really nice. All right, so I'm going to start with some Versamark ink. I really wanted to use our embossing ink because we have the little ink cube and it's so much easier than the big pad, but I forgot to get one at work and I don't have one here at home. All right, so I'm inking that up and I'm going to stamp it. I might even use my little Chucky tool just to make sure I get a good impression. There we go. And then I'm going to turn that to the next position in the template, and I'm going to stamp it again. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it again. Oh, I love these stamps. This will be my first wreath using this new set. So we're doing it together here. Yeah, it's stamping really nicely. I don't need the extra pressure because it's a small stamp. For those big stamps, I love having my Chucky tool. Okay. And I'm going to keep going all the way around. All right, a couple more. Try not to get ink anywhere I don't want it. I might have a little somewhere, but as long as you have a little paintbrush or a Q-tip or something just to brush embossing powder off where you don't want it, it'll be quick and easy to get rid of it. Okay, and one more. Now, before we go to the next stamped image, we're going to emboss this because we don't want this to dry up too much. So I have a piece of scrap cardstock here, and I'm going to get my fine detail silver powder, and I'm going to put that all over. Don't take your stamp off yet. Leave it on the misti at this point, because if you want to go back over something, you can. You just pop it back in the template. Okay, so you can see that looks pretty good. There's a little bit of something there. Let's see if I can get it off with my finger. I think that's going to look pretty good. Okay, I'm going to put this back into my jar. I always have such a mess after embossing. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of my thing. And I also have a little paintbrush here. And so I can get any little specks that are not where I want them. Okay, so now I'm going to heat up my embossing tool for just a second off to the side here. The reason why I like to heat it up first is because I don't want this cardstock to warp too much. So I see somebody might be having a little trouble, but for the most part, it's looking good, Tom? Okay, if you are having trouble, it's always a good idea to go out and come back in. If that doesn't work, maybe leave Facebook and try YouTube, or leave YouTube and try Facebook. Okay, so the embossing powder I used is the Fine Detail Silver Powder. Oh, that's pretty. You can see how quickly it's embossing now because I heated up the tool a little bit. I actually started doing that with my hair dryer too, because I'd be working on my hair. I have this brush to do my hair, and if it's not hot enough, I waste a lot of time waiting for it to heat up. Isn't that a pretty stamp? Look at that. Ooh, that's so pretty. I know embossing is so magical. And we didn't warp it too much to get it back into the template, but we will use the magnet just to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to put this stamp aside because I'm going to use that again. And I think now let's look at what we have here. I need my tidy towel. I've got the back of one of these stamps is just, it's got like embossing powder on it and it wasn't sticking. Okay, so we have all these other stamps here to choose from. And I think I want to use, I'm going to use the Star of David in the center, I believe. So I don't think we have to use that. We could use a little flower. We could use a little sprig. We could use some berries. How about some berries? Should we do some berries on here? We could put some berries like right in here. Let's do that. Let's put berries right in here. They don't have to be attached. That's the thing. You know, you can really do whatever you want. You can put these designs wherever you want. The big key to wreath building is just to not use too many designs. I'd like to put it here, but I think, you know, this is going to block whatever's in the center. So let's get the berries on the outside here so we can still see them. That should do it. The stamp's sticking to me. That's why I'm struggling. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. So I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to pick that up with the door of the misti. And then I can move things around. Okay, everything's in place. We're going to go with another coat here of Embossing Magic because I've been touching all of this. And then again, we're going to use Versamark. We're going to do our second coat of silver. Yeah, I call it a Chucky tool. I see somebody's asking. I call this my Chucky tool because my friend Chuck Meadows made that for me. And everybody's making them now. And we call it the Chucky tool, the Chuckster. We have all kinds of names, but it's named after my friend Chuck who invented it. And it's brilliant. It just helped me so much. And I think it's helped a lot of our members in our Facebook group. Everybody seems to be liking it. And he gave pretty good instructions of how he made it. And I explained it to everybody. He used a curtain finial. He also used a furniture protector pad. And then he Gorilla glued it together. So you have to go in and look in our photo gallery. We've got a little folder of all the different Chucky tools that everybody's made. And they're all different. And they're all really unique. Some of them are really beautiful and, you know, fancy. And others are very, you know, very sleek and some wood. And it's really cool. Some of the husbands got in on the action. Well, I really like the way these berries are looking. I think this is like the perfect placement for them. We're going to be able to see them, and it's not going to interfere with that center. And I love this layout. It's so simple. I'm going to do a different layout for the other one, and I know I'm going to be not as happy with it because I'm just loving this one right now. Wreath building is so awesome when you are just sitting around going, I want to make something, but I don't know what to make. Make wreaths. You don't even have to turn them into cards. Just make them and put them away. And then when you decide what kind of card you want to make, you've got a perfect wreath ready to go. You just need to add a greeting circle. Okay, so we're going to do round 2 of the silver embossing powder. Try to do this. Oh, right before I came on, guys, I don't know if anybody in here is diabetic. Right before I came on, I got a low. I mean, like a bad low. And I ate like all these pretzels and 2 little bags of cookies. So I am feeling pretty good right now. Pretty happy. That's the, I call that the blessing time. You know, you get a low. You don't try to get a low, but you get a low and it's like, all right, now I can eat a cookie. So it's a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to just heat this up again. And then I'm going to emboss it. And then you'll be able to see how pretty that looks. Oh, the magic. Look at that. This set is so pretty. And you know what's really nice about it? I mean, seriously, that is a beautiful wreath, right? But that could be used for any time of the year. So even though this is a holiday set and we're making really pretty holiday cards, you definitely could use this any time of the year. So it'll be a great investment. If you bought the kit, then you have it coming. If you didn't get the kit, this set will be available. I'm just picking up a little bit of the embossing powder that I spilled into my template here. A little purple tape. Okay. So now I think it's time to do the greeting. So the way I'm going to do the greeting tonight is I'm going to put a little bit of tape right on the back. Yeah, I don't worry about it. I mean, I have my my GSM. Is that what that's called? No, that's a cardstock thing. What is it called? CGM. Oh my gosh. Maybe I do need to eat another cookie. I have my CGM. CGM is a continuous glucose monitor. I have it set pretty high. It catches my lows before they're really low. So, all right. So I'm going to put the wishing you a very happy Hanukkah right there. And this, I'm going to make this one a little square card. So it's perfect for a gift card holder. So for one of the nights of Hanukkah, you could do an iTunes card or a Starbucks card or something fun.
This thing is 1.5 diabetes.
Oh, 1.5? You have type 1.5? Yeah, they're talking about how that's kind of a thing now. I hadn't heard of that until recently, but it makes sense. Type 1 is, you know, what they used to call juvenile diabetes, and type 2 is adult onset diabetes, and now they say there's a type 1.5. It's like a hybrid, kind of like a hybrid ink. That's what you are. You're like a hybrid ink pad. Okay, so that's the Chucky tool right there in action. Beautiful. Okay, now this is very delicate writing. I think it's going to show up really nicely with the fine detail powder. You want to make sure you definitely use fine detail powder when you're doing something this intricate. Yep, I can still see it all. All right, let's get that out of the way. And we'll emboss it. Oh, wait a minute. My sweet friend Karen at work gave me clothespins. She said, I know you always forget your clothespins, so I brought clothespins for you. So Karen, if you're watching, Karen at work gave me clothespins. I'm going to use it. Clothespin is a great way to not burn yourself. Love it. Oh, that's pretty. That is really pretty. Look how pretty that is. Can you see all that detail? It really came out nice. Okay, so I am going to tape that down because I'm going to put the Star of David on here now. And I don't know which one I'm going to use. Should I use the big one? It has to be upright, so I think I'm going to use the smaller one because it doesn't have enough room to put the big one. The big one you could definitely use going around the wreath if you wanted to make, use the 2 sizes of the Star of David going around. That would be really cool. Maybe add a snowflake in there. But I want this to be straight and it's sticking to me. So if I nudge it, it'll stick to the paintbrush, right? No, that worked. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's important to keep an eye on diabetes, but you do the best that you can, and sometimes you have highs and sometimes you have lows, and you just keep a good spirit about it and don't let it make you feel like a failure. That's what I do. Okay. Now, I could put a couple Star of Davids on here, but I'm going to stick with one. We're going to keep it simple and elegant for this card. Okay. Move that and get my little paperclip, clothespin. And there we go. So for all my friends out there that celebrate Hanukkah, I've had a couple people ask me next time I do a Hanukkah set to spell it with a CH. I know both spellings are acceptable, but is that something that a lot of you guys would be interested in? Because we always try to do something for Hanukkah during the holidays. So next year when I'm designing a set, I want to keep that in mind if that's something that you guys think you would like. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to cut. Oh, look how pretty that is. But we've got to really make it stand out. So we're going to use some white cardstock to do that. So let me get my die cutting machine back in the mix here. All right, and I'm going to back up a little bit so that you guys can see. So now I'm going to find the bigger square that coordinates with that one that we used. So I think that is this one. Yeah, you can kind of see because they're almost the same size. The other one would be way too big. And I'm going to use a piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to cut this all at the same time. I'm going to be really proactive here. I'm going to cut the white. And actually, I could cut the white out of the center. And this is going to save a little bit of cardstock. It'll also make the card a little bit lighter. Not much. But what's funny is there was somebody in our group that was saying that when they cut the center out of their mats, they actually were able to get a card to go for a first class stamp that was actually overweight prior to them doing that. So, why not? I mean, why not have an opening like this? You're not going to see it, right? If you put your card over it, and then you don't have to waste more cardstock. So, and then we have this one. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put these aside. Should I cut the other? I'm going to cut the other ones out right now. Why not? Because we're doing red, and we did the red last time, that slimline card, and it looked so nice accented in white. So let's just cut this out. Watch me not even use it, but I'll use it for something if I don't use it tonight. So I was thinking about doing an A2 size card, but I could still use this. So let's see how it goes. All right. Let me move the die cutting machine out of the way. Yes, frugal as well. It's good to be a little bit frugal sometimes, huh? Now this is just going to make everything stand out so nicely. So we'll first adhere these two together with a little bit of tape. Probably didn't need to go right down the center because that's going to stick to my mat here, but that's all right. There we go. And then I thought I would show you, and we do have this coming back in stock. This is our silver cardstock. Isn't that pretty? Get all that silver going on there. I like that. So I think we're going to do it on the silver card base. So I have this cut at 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to score it first at 4¼ inches. And this is the way to save a little bit. What I used to do is I used to score it at 5½ inches and then fold it in half and then cut it down to the 4¼ But now I just score it at 4¼ And then I fold that over. And then I cut it at 4¼ So we'll just take and this is the fold of the card at 4¼ here. And there, now you have your little square card, and then you have a bigger piece left over for a strip that you can use for something else. Okay, so this is going to be my card base for this card. Make sure we get enough tape on here because, you know, it does kind of get a little warpy when you do a lot of embossing. But I just love the blue and the silver together. Oh, it's so pretty. That is definitely festive. Isn't that pretty? Okay. And then we'll do this circle and the white circle together. And you'll be able to figure these out really easily. The bigger circle does not have stitches. The smaller one does. So, and we could pop that up. Ooh, that's nice. Isn't that cute? Let's pop it up with some foam squares. Give it a little bit of dimension. And just put a few of those on the back. Oh, it's nice to finally be making lots of holiday cards. This is the time of the year. Although, usually I don't start my mass producing until like Thanksgiving weekend. That's just the way I am. I don't know about you guys. I have been trying really hard this year, especially to live in the moment and enjoy fall as long as I can. And then, you know, get into the holidays. So right now I'm doing a lot of experimenting like this, trying to figure out what kinds of cards I want to make, trying lots of different things. And then I'll pick what I'm going to mass produce, and that will be it. Okay, so there is that pretty little Hanukkah card. And again, you know, this would be a great wreath for a 25th wedding anniversary, that silver wedding anniversary. Just pick a beautiful happy anniversary sentiment in the center and put that right on there. So, you know, easy peasy, right? And then for writing inside, you can write with like a thin Sharpie and things like that. This is really a slippery kind of cardstock. But I just cut a square, not with a hole in it, but a square, and just mount it in there, and I write on the white piece. And what's nice about that is you can write your sentiment first, and if you mess up, you just throw it away. And then when it's perfect, make sure it's dry, and then just tape it onto the inside. So there is my little Hanukkah card. I really wanted to add some sequins in there, but I think this is so elegant just the way it is. I'm going to leave it. Okay, so now it's time to make the next one. We have plenty of time. So I already have the red piece cut out, and I'll put these pieces over here and get them out of the way. So I already have the red piece cut out, and that fits perfectly inside there. And this one will turn into an A2 card because that's just fun to do with the Wreath Builder. So let's see. Let's take a gander at these stamps again. I need a piece of cardstock where I can kind of see everything. Let me find. Okay, I'm using the wrong insert here, so pay no attention. This is not hand-lettered holiday. This is holiday tapestry. I think I could use this one and then maybe add this one and the berries. Let's try that. We'll see how that goes. And we'll definitely do something with this. All right, so we'll start over here. We'll kind of angle that in just a little bit like that, because we want to leave a little room, but we want to get it close to the edge. Okay. So I'm going to use the embossing magic pad again, because this time, I'm going to dust this off here. I have some silver embossing powder on here, so I'm going to dust that off. I'm going to use the gold embossing powder for this one. And I'm going to start with some Versamark, and I'm going to stamp that. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to keep going all the way around until I have my 8 images. Then we'll emboss that first, and we'll keep going. This image is nice because it gives you a lot of room to add more things. It's a smaller image, but that one that I used for the Hanukkah card is so thick and lush that if you need a fast wreath and you don't want to use a lot of elements, it's a great one to use. It's one that I think everybody needs in their collection. And you know, one thing that I firmly believe, people get into trouble when they're making wreaths because they just add too many elements. Less is more when you're building wreaths. You can see that last one, I only used 2 different elements going around the card, and it looks great. It's just nice and you know, it's nice and fluffy. It's not too skinny of a wreath. But you don't need a whole lot. When things start to really overlap, but when you're doing embossing, you really want each image to kind of be standing alone. So I like the way this looks already. This is very cute. Okay. And a lot of people don't think about embossing when it comes to the Wreath Builder because, you know, they think, oh, the embossing powder is going to, or the embossing ink is going to dry too fast. It really doesn't. You've got plenty of time here to do this. So nothing looks like red and gold, right? We did that last time on that slimline card, and it was so fun.
Hey, why don't you put the card stamps down at the same time?
All the stamps?
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know exactly how they're going to touch at the end. What I do is, oh, Tom is asking, he needs a microphone. Tom is asking, why don't I put all the stamps down at one time? I like to do one at a time until I know the design is going to look good. Then I can actually use this design once it's done, place all the stamps on top of this, move this out of the way, and then stamp them all again. So you can do all the stamps at one time, but I don't recommend it for the very first one. Make yourself a template first, even if it's just on white cardstock in color, just so that you can see where they're going to fall. Because sometimes you don't think something's going to overlap, and then it does, and it kind of messes it up. Ooh, wait a minute now. I missed. I don't know if you can see this, but I missed the stem on that. Didn't get any gold on that stem. There we go. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I answer Tom's question, and I forget you guys can't hear what he's asking me. All right. Oh, gold. He's still my heart. I'm a silver girl. I wear all silver jewelry. My wedding ring is white gold. I love silver, but boy, do I love gold embossing powder. It is so beautiful. It just pops right out. So this is the Gina K Designs Fine Detail Gold. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. Pretty pretty. All right, so I'm going to pop that back in. And you do want to make sure that it is cooled off a little bit before you like start rubbing over it with anything, because you actually can smear the embossing powder if it's too hot. So
You ever double emboss?
do I ever double emboss, like gold and silver?
More raised?
You can double emboss to get it more raised. If you want it more raised, I would just suggest not using a fine detail powder, because the difference between a fine detail powder and this powder is how puffy it gets. And but when it's too puffy, it loses detail. So that's why with smaller detailed stamps, I do prefer the fine detail, but you could certainly try that second wave. Okay, so I'm going to put this right in here, and then we're going to put berries on the other side of that. So let me show you. Let me see if I can do this. This is a way to speed up the process. So what we'll do is we'll get that positioned, okay? And we'll stamp it. All right. Stamp there. Okay. Now we're going to move it to the next position. And we'll place the berries where we want them down here. Okay. Let's see if that is a good spot. I think that'll be a good spot. And we'll pick that stamp up. We're going to ink this one first. And we're going to pick that stamp up at the same time. And then we'll ink that berry stamp. And we will stamp that. There we go. Now we can keep turning. And we've got both stamps in action. And it'll look a little weird until the very end. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I should probably go the other way. I'm not going to do this. Forget that I said that. I'm taking this off. This is bugging me. It's not perfect. And I'll have to show you the way that I normally do it once I actually get all the images on here. I'll show you a quick cheat one. And we'll do the berries at the end. And I'm not going to worry where those berries are. We're going to be able to put them exactly in the same spot. And I'll show you that too. I've taught classes where, you know, people are right in the middle of their wreath. And for some reason, they just clean the stamp and take it off the misti. And then they're like, oh, no, I ruined it. But it's really super easy to find the right place to put it. And I'll show you that because I have to do that with my berries. And I don't really have to hurry because it is only 7:42. So we got plenty of time. Oh, so I have not gone to a pumpkin patch or an apple orchard this fall. I don't know if you guys have gotten out to do any of those things. I don't know. Are they even open? I always loved doing that when my kids were little. We'd go to the pumpkin patch and buy way too many pumpkins and carve them all, and then, you know, then you have the mess of the pumpkins trying to get rid of them later. Okay, I'm going to emboss all of this first. My one berry. I really like these images. This is going to be a very cute little wreath. And let's get my brush and get rid of the excess here. When you're using Versamark or any kind of embossing powder, it's not uncommon that you get a little bit on your fingers, and sometimes you touch the images, or you touch the cardstock, and then embossing powder will end up where your fingers were. So just keep that tiny little paintbrush close by. Okay. So here we go. Woo. Now, all of our stamps for all of our wreath builders mix and match really nicely together. So if you already have a wreath builder set and you're thinking, oh, I really love to use that little flower in this design, you certainly can. It's super easy just to mix and match them together. They're all kind of set up to work together, and all the circles in all the sets work with all the other greetings. So I just found where those berries were, and I just lined them up right on top of the one that I already stamped. And I'm going to pick that up with the door of the misti. Now I'm going to go back over that again with the embossing magic pad. I don't want any Versamark to stick to those berries. But I feel like a baker here. I've got flour all over. I'm making pizza. And now I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to turn it to the next position. And I'm going to continue to stamp the berries. Fun, fun.
What brand of heat gun is that?
So the heat tool that I'm using, somebody asked what brand I'm using. The heat tool that I'm using is the Wagner heat tool. I also have the Wow embossing gun, and I really like that one too. That one actually has more than one setting. So if you're doing, you know, you're using alcohol inks, or you're doing something that you want to use it just for drying, maybe you're using amalgam ink and you just want to heat it up a little to dry it before you're going to color. That one's really nice too, because it does have the high and the low setting. But I tend to gravitate toward the Wagner whenever I'm doing embossing. It's been really, really a good tool for me. I used to have the Marvy one, and that was a good one too. So kind of look at your budget and decide which one works best for you based on budget, and they definitely all work really nicely. But the one I'm using tonight is the Wagner. So this is working out well, Tom. You can ask any questions. I see somebody's asking, what size envelope do you use for these? Well, what I do, I'll give you the the rundown on that as soon as we're done this card. But if you're going to mail it in a regular A2 size envelope and just slip a quarter sheet of coordinating cardstock in the envelope to make it rigid, because then it will go for the price of a regular first class stamp. Otherwise, I don't need to stamp that one. Otherwise, you will you'll have to pay additional postage, and that's never fun if you don't have to. But if you're hand delivering it, you know, you're putting a little gift card in it and you're giving it to somebody. I have a video out there that shows you how to alter an A2 envelope to fit perfectly the little square card. So you can check for that. And if you can't find it, you can always ask in our forum, because it's amazing how our design team, our moderators, they kind of know where everything is. And also our members are really good at that as well. They know where things are. They can find them really quickly. Okay. So let's emboss the berries. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so that's totally different kind of wreath. Okay, so Charlotte, you're asking about the holiday tapestry stamp set. See, two different kinds of wreaths from that set. And they're both really pretty, aren't they? This should be available in a couple of weeks. We have a big batch coming in, but we also have a second reorder coming in. So I don't know how many people are actually going to want this stamp set. So we did do a double batch. We ordered, I don't know, maybe 1,000 for the first batch, 500 or 1,000, and then we have another big batch coming after that. But we sold so many kits that we didn't want to overbuy, because we know some of you didn't get the kit, but most of you did who wanted it. Okay, so now let's do our fancy stuff here. Let's see if we can make use of this piece. Let's put that together with a little bit of adhesive. Okay, I'm being kind of crazy here. I'm doing it a little differently than I normally do it, so we'll see what happens. All right. Okay. So we're going to turn this into an A2 size card. So I'm going to get my paper cutter and I'm going to cut this in half. So this is 3 3/4 of an inch. It's almost 4. So I'll cut it like at 1 7/8 of an inch, just to be safe. Okay, here we go. Got that? Okay. So now let's find our card base. We're going to put this on a gold card base. And I'm going to score this card base at 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to put half of this at the bottom and half of this at the top, like that. I'm going to split it out. And then I'm going to do a decorative element across the center. So I'm going to get this piece of cardstock. This was the extra. And I'm going to cut myself a nice chunk of that off the top. I'm digging the red and gold. I like it all though. So let's see. We'll just cut up to where we can. I don't even know how wide that is. Let's see if we can measure it. Oh, wow. That's perfect. That's 1 3/4 of an inch. So that was dumb luck. And we're going to cut that. Let's see. We're going to cut that to 3 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to cut another panel of white. And we're going to cut that. So that was 1 1/2 inches. We're going to go up 1/8 of an inch from there. Let's get it in there. My handle is slipping a little. Okay. Is that right? I think that's right. And we'll check it. That is not right. How big is this again? Oh, 1 3/4 of an inch. See, I know some of you were yelling at me saying, no, 1 3/4 of an inch, but I couldn't hear you. That's why it's better to stamp together in real life. Okay, so we're going to take that down. And then I'm going to cut this to 3 7/8 of an inch. Right there. So that will go here like this. And then that is going to go right in the center like that. Of course, straight. Okay. All right. So it's kind of a fun way to do an A2 size card. There are ways to do it without cutting it. And I think I've showed you guys that, but let's get the decorative stuff going on this one. Let's see how we can do it. All right. So I'm going to pull the Wreath Builder template out of here. You can see I have quite a mess in here, but this will all come up with a little bit of tape. Now I'm going to flip this over because I'm going to stamp off my the piece of paper, and I don't care if I get it on my mouse pad. That's totally fine. I'm going to put a little strip of tape there and just kind of lock it in place somewhere. Make it straight. And then I'm going to use this decorative piece, and we'll go right across the center. We'll try to get that nice and straight. And we can always trim it a little more if we need to. I'm going to get my head in the way. I want to go right over it. Oh, my roots. Oh, my word. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to use my embossing magic pad again. And I'm going to ink this up with Versamark. And I'm inking the whole thing because I just don't want to try to just ink it enough to get it on the piece of cardstock. That's why I used this side of my mouse pad, because I don't care what happens to this side of my mouse pad. I can just wipe it off. Okay. There we go. Looking pretty good. Okay. Gentle. There we go. Let me get that on there, on the clothespin. No. Here we go. And then I'll get my little piece of scrap paper and my gold embossing powder. And we'll add this decorative strip across the center. Now, if you don't have a border stamp, you can make your own border just by using some purple tape down each side of your piece of cardstock, and then just randomly stamp your images across. Then peel the purple tape away and then add your embossing powder, and you can kind of create your own border. So, I mean, I don't want you to feel like you can't play along if you don't have this set. You can certainly make your own for now. All right. And of course, you don't even have to do this. I mean, you could use a decorative die cut border, something like that. There's lots of things you can do. You can use an embossing folder, whatever you want. Okay. Now I'm going to adhere these two pieces together, and I'm going to give it a second to dry. Just don't want to touch it. It's a little warm. Okay, I think it's going to be okay. Oops, forgot I had tape on the back. Okay, we'll add a little more tape to this because it's kind of warpy. And then we will adhere it together. I have to see it on darker surface. I can't look at it up against white. Okay, so there's the decorative strip. We'll move this out of the way and we'll lay this out. Okay, so first we're going to place this piece up near the top. And I just like to try to get the borders even. So it's even on the side and even across the top. Now I'm going to do the same thing down here and try to get the borders even. And if I do that, hopefully that centerpiece will fall right into place. And if I don't, we can always pick it up and finagle it around a little bit. But it should look pretty good. So that will go right over the center like that. All right, let's taper down. And then we'll make our center greeting. That's kind of fun, huh? Pretty pretty. Okay, let's get our greeting in there. Let's do a Christmas one for this card. I like to tape it down on my misti, like I said before. And I'm going to use this Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's a big one. Did you see what I did? I almost panicked because it was upside down. But duh, it's a circle. So it really wouldn't have mattered. Okay. Let me get that in there. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Wish me luck. You tried a coffee filter to catch embossing powder? Did that work? Oh, it didn't like you? Oh. Yeah, coffee filters. I've seen people do it successfully, but I've never done it successfully. However, I'm a big coffee fan, so I have great respect for the coffee filter. Okay. There we go. And gently pull that up. And a little bit of gold. And we will have our greeting ready to go. Okay. It doesn't look like much, does it? Until the heat hits it, and then it's magic. There we go. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you have good success, Luann, with the coffee filter. Yeah, coffee filters, I mean, I guess they're not much different than a piece of cardstock. But you can see I'm not doing well with the piece of cardstock either because I'm actually getting embossing powder all over my misti and I still have to clean it up. I guess it's better than horrible. That's Tom. That's Tom and I. That's our line. It's better than horrible. All right, we'll glue these two pieces together with a little bit of adhesive. And we'll pop them up. I think we should pop it up. Should we pop it up? I even put that on there straight. Yeah, I did. And then we could put it right on there, but it might look nice to be popped up. Let's pop it up. Got my foam squares ready to go here. Need one more. Yeah, so you can use the little square cards, little square envelopes that you can alter from an A2 envelope for hand delivering or adhering the square card to a gift, maybe even adding a little ribbon to it by just like kind of looping it through before you actually seal the envelope, and you can hang the little gift on the tree. But if you're going to mail it, just add a shim of regular cardstock in there, an A2 panel, and then you don't have to worry about paying any additional postage for a square card. So there is that Christmas card. What do you guys think? So we have Hanukkah and Christmas. Oh, I love the Wreath Builder. It's just so much fun. And embossing is just always spectacular. I definitely think for this card, I'm going to add some sequins. I will do that before I put this card in our Facebook group. So it'll have a little bling, I think. I don't know. I'm still up in the air. I have to lay the sequins out first. We'll see how that goes. All right. So there are my finished cards. Well, that was so much fun, you guys. I just love being here with you. Mix It Up Monday, Stamp and Chat. It's always fun. At the beginning of the show, we talked a little bit about patience. I promise, I appreciate you guys having patience with me. I promise I will open all of those beautiful cards that you guys sent to me and your gifts and get pictures over on Facebook to let you know how much I appreciate you thinking of me, because I really do. I've just been a little too busy and I need to just stop and make time to do that. And we talked about patience, you know, with all things, but first of all, with yourself. So my final quote for the night is, have patience with yourself. Learn to be okay without being perfect. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Tom and I will be back on Wednesday night for a whimsical Wednesday Stamp and Chat, and I hope you will too. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all. Mwah. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.